What up? New York here. We're going to get off the comedy trail for a minute, even though some things in this are just ironic and funny, as it is. But sometimes I do have to talk serious with you people. It means a lot to me, and we have great conversations about it. If I do look down, it's because I am reading. You know, I don't have a memory like a fucking, I don't know, like a calculator. I don't have a calculator's memory, so sometimes I have to look down to remember something. I did have to take notes for this. I did have to do research for this to bring you guys the truth the way I know it. But it's going to be an interesting one. Today, I want to talk about opiate addiction, alcoholism, PTSD, depression, anxiety, and pain management. I only had to look down real quick for that. But those are a lot of things right there. I would say between all those, somebody suffers from at least one of them, right? I think they say it's somewhere between 68 and 73% of the people alone suffer some kind of addiction. So now add depression, add anxiety, add PTSD, add all these life-altering things to it. It's probably everybody. Everybody can say they suffered from at least one of these things. How do they treat all of these things? You might have your own thoughts, but let's get into it. You will see me look down on this one because I only know two of them offhand, but I wanted to get you guys some facts. So we're going to talk about depression. The biggest medications prescribed for depression are Cymbalta, Lexapro, Wellbutrin, Paxil, and Prozac. What do they all have in common? They come from the pharmacies, like you're getting there, and you have to take them for the rest of your life. People are going to say, oh, they're not addictive. They are. If you got to take it for the rest of your life, that's pretty much definition of addiction. Not to mention, if you stop taking them, you turn into a fucking zombie. Your depression comes back 100 times fold. What if you're one of 3 people who medicated treatment of depression doesn't work to start with? Then what do? Everybody else just keep on taking the medications, keep on taking the medications. Oh, what are their side effects, by the way? Might lead to depression and suicidal thoughts. So the medication for depression might lead to depression and suicidal thoughts, and I have to be on for the rest of my life, which is going to depress me. Because let's say you never took anything else and you weren't an addict, but you're depressed. So it's saying, here, come to the doctor if you suffer from depression. We'll make you an addict, give you something to really be depressed about, and oh yeah, you might want to kill yourself and you might be even more depressed. Long as the pharmaceutical companies keep on making their money and bullshitting us with the next best cure, right? That's the way it goes. Just like opiates. Why is most of this stuff not, oh, we found a cure, it lasts a week, you take it a month. Everything's, oh, just take this for the rest of your fucking life. Get it from us, get it through your medical so you don't even feel it. If you can't get it through your medical, it's going to be super expensive. But we really don't care about you people. We care about the people with medical. We actually made it so everybody has to have medical so we can keep getting our money and the government can keep getting backed and boosted and their donations. So, you're depressed? Become an addict. That's the cure. Do you have anxiety? The top 3 for that is Xanax, Valium, and Ativan. Benzophetamines. So if you have anxiety, you never did drugs in your life, you're just an anxious person, high blood pressure, we're going to make you addicted to the worst drug known to man. Next to alcohol, benzophetamines are the only 2 that can actually kill you when you're detoxing. People have died detoxing from opiates. It's not common. Benzophetamines, one of the side effects of detoxing is seizures. And you can die. If you have a heroin withdrawals and go to the hospital, they say, see you later, alligator, have some water. If you have benzo withdrawals, they'll bring you in. They'll hook you up to machines. You can have seizures. It's fucking horrible. So you have some anxiety. You're going through some rough times. We'll give you benzophetamines. Oh, yeah, those opiates for pain and everything else, they're addictive. So we're not trying to do the same thing when it comes to anxiety. But, yeah, we'll give you this addictive medication. You can stay on it for the rest of your fucking life. Or you can detox and maybe die. Isn't that wrong? No, just keep feeding the pharmaceutical mills. Keep feeding the pharmacies so they can keep feeding the doctors and feeding the government. Long as you're a functioning addict, we don't care. Does anybody see where I'm going here? Now I'm really going to look off to the side for a second, because it's something I don't even know tons about. Alcoholism. From what I've seen, the top 4 are acamprosate, disulfiram, naloxone, which is naloxone, and toplamate. What do all these have in common? You have to take them for the rest of your life. They're prescribed by the motherfucking doctors. And If you stop taking them, they can lead to suicide, depression. It's the same fucking thing over and over. It's like somebody wrote a math problem and said, this is how you solve it. Add addictions to addicts. Take anybody with depression or anxiety, make them an addict. Make everybody addicted to something. And if they stop taking it, fuck them. Either they die or we'll make a new medication for them to take to get off of it. Gets worse. It's fucking sickening. I don't want to floss over this. PTSD. But that's a mix. They'll give you stuff for depression, stuff for anxiety. PTSD is so underlooked at with all these fucking soldiers, all these fucking people who left at 18 to go fight for our country, went over to Afghanistan, seen gross, disgusting shit, come back here, they can never be normal again. They don't tell you that when you go to fucking the military. Yo, you want to join the service and see the world? They don't tell you, oh yeah, you want to come back with a fucking couple screws loose because you can't sleep because of the disgusting things we made you do and see? Don't worry about it, because when you come back, we'll just put you on addictive drugs for the rest of your fucking life. We'll make you a zombie, or we'll make it to the point that when you want to get off, you can't. Because if you did, we'd stop getting fucking money. Do you think they care about our addictions? You see all these commercials, fight opiate abuse. Why don't you see a commercial that says, we're the one that gave you the opiates and told you guys that this was perfectly safe to take? But it's always fight the illegal stuff. Fight heroin, fight fentanyl. Because they're not making fucking money on it. Call me crazy for saying that, but it's the truth. Because let's say Suboxone was a street drug. A drug that gets you high as an opiate. A drug that if you quit it, it takes a month to detox and it's fucking miserable. Let's say that wasn't made by the pharmacies, and let's say that was next to heroin. They'd have commercials, get off Suboxone. And they would have another medication that's even more addictive for you to get on. They just want you to give them the money. And their biggest fucking thing is for you to be a functioning drug addict. Call me crazy again. I know people are saying, oh, they don't do that. That's not the pharmaceutical industry. That's not the government. Sure it fucking is. They want people to stay in line. They want people to stay sedated and listen to what they have to say and not cause a ruffle. Addicts do that, sadly. They cause money. They get arrested. They cause scenes. There's murders. There's abuse. There's all kinds of deaths that come with it, with that addiction. Until you go to them and they do through your medical or whatever it is, and they put you on something to shut you the fuck up and keep you from having to rob those streets. So basically what happened is the pharmaceutical companies and the doctors and the fucking government that gets backed by all these motherfuckers, they figured out a way to make money on all our addictions and all our problems, all the worst things that can happen to people in life. And every one of them is in another addiction, or you got to be on this for life, suicidal thoughts. It's mind-boggling how this works. What if I told you, for all the stuff I just talked about, everything, depression, alcoholism, PTSD, anxiety, pain relief, addiction, opiate addiction, cocaine addiction, that there was one drug that you took for less than 8 months, you did it maybe twice a week. At the end, I'll get into that in a minute, you're not even doing it twice a week, and when you're done, you're fucking done. What if I told you that not only did it break your addiction, but it made you not even want to be an addict anymore? It got rid of all those after cravings. You know, they say you got to keep fighting them for everything, keep fighting them. Even when you come off depression medication, you got to fight those demons and everything else. What if I told you that was all gone? Take this one medication, take it a couple times a week. We'll even back off that and make it once a week after a while. In 8 months, you'll have it all under wraps. You won't even want anything anymore. You'll wonder how you were ever an addict. You'll be functioning. You won't need drugs. You won't be addicted for life. Your life will be back to normal. Also, the drug that I'm going to give you only has a couple side effects. We're going to do it under doctor's care, and you're not going to detox from it at all. Why wouldn't this drug be bigger? Why wouldn't they be talking about this more, looking into it? I'm talking on a daily fucking basis rather than looking into Suboxone and all these other stuff. If you found a drug that worked for every single ailment I just fucking said, and you didn't have to take it for more than 8 months under a doctor's care, why? I'm talking about ketamine. For some of you, you know what it is. I know what it is. What is ketamine? For those of you that grew up in the 90s, early 2000s, even today a little bit, you know what ketamine is. Good old Special K. It's a cat tranquilizer. It's an elephant tranquilizer. It's a horse tranquilizer. In the late 90s, they figured out a way to make it so you can't cook it back for cat tranquilizers, so people started using the horse tranquilizers. It comes in a clear vial. It's injectable. They inject it into animals, and it kills pain. They use it for operations, for surgeries, for a bunch of things with animals. But if you take this liquid and you so happen to pour it on a plate and stick it in a microwave or take a hairdryer to it for a while, it turns into a crystally powder. And you sniff that powder, and it's like you instantly drank a case of fucking beer, except you don't have that stomach ache. You don't have those woozies. Some people start tripping out a little bit. It's life-altering. It's crazy. It's a mix of hallucinogenics and all kinds of things. It's ketamine. People used it at the clubs. We used to party with it, keep you up all night. I compare it to drinking a case of beer instantly, but not the bad parts. Good old ketamine. Sit there with your blow dryer. I used to go in 7-Eleven and make it. Oh, nobody has a microwave? Oh, sneak in 7-Eleven, just make some K. At the time, it was like I said, it was a fucking party drug. It was something you did with ecstasy. It was something people did just to fucking have a good time, watch cartoons. It was a crazy drug. The side effects are bladder issues, but you have to do a lot of it. You can look that up. I mean, nobody does that. K was a drug you did once in a while. It didn't make you want to do it the next day. Once you were off of it, which was 20 minutes to a half an hour after you took it, you were done with it. You didn't want to keep doing it all night long. It was one of those drugs that you do here and there. You enjoy it, and then that's it. You forget about it. Who would have thought that it would have turned into this? Depression, anxiety, PTSD, pain, all this stuff has something in common. It lowers your brain's synapses. What that is, it's connective tissue. Picture your brain being billions of cells, and it has all this connective tissue that brings this to this, and this to this, and this to this. When you're an addict, when you're depressed, these start wearing away, and your brain starts remapping itself, except it's not connecting right anymore. Addiction is in there. It's making you need a substance for this part to work. It's making you feel pain if this part's not working. And it starts destroying these synapses. All the medications I told you in the beginning, they do nothing but mask it. That's what they do. That's why you need to be on them for life. But what if I told you over a decade ago, they found out that ketamine on small doses regrows these synapses very fast. Matter of fact, within 24 hours of your first dose, they start regrowing. It starts remapping your brain. Also, when I'm being scientifical, I think that's a word. Neurons use something in your brain. I'm going to look down for a second. Yeah, I was right. Neurons need glutamate in your brain. That's how the communication happens. Remember I was talking about the communication and how everything's intertwined? Picture the string that intertwines everything being something called glutamate. Depression, anxiety, pain, all this stuff removes that too. It's gone. The neurons no longer can communicate because the glutamate is just fucking shit out of bed because all these fucking fucking anxiety, depression, all these addictions just ruin it. What if I told you ketamine, again, within 24 hours, started strengthening the glutamate so much that the neurons are more attracted to it than they would be for a sober person? So as your brain starts remapping, it's actually remapping itself to be less addictive than a normal person who never took drugs. Would you believe me? Now, I'm not going to get back into the medications for depression, anxiety, PTSD. I just did that, and you know what it is if you're watching this video. But one thing they all have in common is they don't even work that well. If you read well and you look into studies of the percent of people this shit actually works on, it's usually like 30, 40%. A lot of the alcoholism stuff is like 15 to 20%. Some of it's half. It's fucking nothing. You're basically praying for it to work. Some of it is like 4%. I read. I was 4%, but they're trying and they're giving this guy for a year something that's going to work with a 4% chance. What if I told you again? A decade ago, they did studies with ketamine. I'm just going to go, it's basically the same for everything, believe it or not, but I'm going to go at depression. We're going to talk about the depression one. For depression, ketamine, 77% of the time has an effect after the first treatment. These neurons, this glutamate starts regrowing, the connective tissue starts, they say when people leave, you're not on K when you leave. We're going to get into how it works in a minute and watch some videos, but you're not on K when you leave, you're sober. But you're happier. Your brain is starting to remap itself quickly. That percent is insane. It's never been reached before. They're saying some people, and there wasn't really much, I'll post that up too, some people in some groups, it was 86% of the group felt better after the first treatment. Almost 90% of the group felt better after the first treatment of ketamine. They're not doing it on the street. I'm going to explain how it's done. And after the second treatment, over 90% feels better. This treatment only lasts 8 months in total. You're doing it once a week to start. Well, again, we're going to talk about that in a minute, not how it works. But what the flying fuck? You found the treatment for all these things that can work 70% the first time, and fucking the second time, basically over 90% of the people are feeling better from whatever ailed them, their anxiety, their depression, their PTSD, their pain. And we're not talking about this more? Why? Why are we not talking about this more? Why is it just coming up in the last year? And it's coming up big time, people. I'm going to look down again. I must be reading off a fucking paper because I'm not allowed to do that as a YouTuber. We're going to look at Spravato. I'm going to show you a commercial after this, let you see about it. But you might have even seen it and said, is this a fucking joke? Am I watching something that's funny on TV? Because it made me laugh when I seen what it was and how it works. You can't help but laugh at it. It's called Spravato. You go to the doctor. It's a nasal spray made out of ketamine. Let me tell you the treatment and how it works. For depression, you go to the doctor 2 times a week for 1 to 4 weeks, followed by once a week for 5 to 9 weeks. After that, you go once every 2 weeks for 8 months. After that, you're basically done. By that time, over 94% of depressed people, 94% of anxiety, PTSD, all the mental health ones are basically cured. There is a catch-22. Some of these people need another treatment every 6 months, 4 to 6 months. Who gives a shit about 4 to 6 months? You get your life back. You're not taking drugs daily. You're not addicted to anything. If you stop, maybe the old problems will come back, but you're not getting any more problems. You're not going to fucking start fucking melting. You're not going to have a seizure and fucking die. You're not going to detox. You're still going to go to work the next day. It's fucking amazing. Ketamine. Who would have thought about it? If you've done it, you know the effects. It makes you happy. It makes you... What if you lowered the dose so much that it didn't get you high and make you trip out crazy anymore, but it just started remapping your brain? You'll see the users. Some of them do actually trip out a little bit while they're doing this, but you're in a doctor's office. Everything is under doctor's care. Look at the studies when I get off. I can't keep this up forever, and I can't show you every fact because it's been going on for a long time. I'm trying to bring it to your attention so you do your homework. If you have anxiety, if you have PTSD, if you have depression, if you suffer from chronic pain, alcoholism, and you don't know what to do anymore, and you're at your last end of the line, about to fall off the fucking cliff, go speak to a doctor about Spravato. Speak to him about the gel ketamine treatments. There's multiple ways to do this, folks. Ask them the percentage. I don't know why more doctors ain't talking about something that works for 90% of the fucking people. I'm going to say something in a second that's going to sound fucking crazy. I'm going to show you this because it sounds fucking nuts. First of all, one doctor explains it is for depression and all this stuff, that anxiety, whatever it is, addiction, it's like your brain is fully packed with all this stuff that it needs, and now you just unpacked it. You know what I was telling you, the scientific ways that this stuff works? The scientific ways. You want me to break it down? You want me to tell you how they break it down for you to tell you how it works? It makes you forget addiction. It makes you forget you're depressed. Sounds crazy, but that's what the remapping of your brain is doing. They even tell you that once this is done, to get a hobby, to do something, because if the addiction starts coming back, your brain no longer knows you're addicted to cocaine it works for. Your brain no longer knows you're addicted to opiates. Your brain no longer knows you're depressed. But if addiction is a mental issue you have, start doing something good and you'll get addicted to it. They tell you to remap your life. I'm going to show you a video on this. But yeah, it works by making your brain forget that you're depressed, forget that you're an addict. How amazing is that? What a time to be alive. Why are they still pushing all these other drugs? If you found a drug that can work in 8 months and you go to your doctor and you're done, you got your life back, no more drug, why would they not push that further? I mean, it could be because then they're not making money off you for the rest of your life. It could be because they want to see you fall. They want to see you get back on fucking your Suboxone, your painkiller, whatever it might be. I mean, but would they do that? Would the pharmaceutical industry literally not talk more about something that can work in 8 months and you never take it again and can truly heal you? I'm not saying, like, you know, a lot of people with depressed take, let's say, Zoloft. How does it work for you? It works all right. That's what I hear. Even the people who it works for. People with anxiety take Xanax. It makes me tired. I'm basically addicted to it at this point. Valiums, all this stuff doesn't really work great. When you see people who did the ketamine therapy, they got their whole life back. They're excited. They cannot believe that they were ever an addict. It's the most amazing thing ever. In my eyes, if you found a drug that can cure somebody in 8 months, give them their life back and make it like they never even did drugs and never had pain, never had depression, never went through any of that, wouldn't that be the #1 treatment in every rehab? Why isn't it? It's not like this is brand new because you're seeing Spravato commercials. For something to be FDA approved, it's been studied for a long time. I'm showing you guys stuff as we go. Usually, I talk and I'll show you a video, talk and I'll show you a video, but I wanted to get out what I had to say, and then we can get into the videos. I think it's amazing. If you suffer from anything I just said, please do me a favor, look into this. It sounds funny. I'm going to do a party drug from the 90s and it's going to cure everything. I laugh at it. Even the fact that it's a nasal spray. You're going to tell me they took K from when I used to go to clubs and they made a nasal spray for it that's going to cure anything that's wrong with me. Sounds crazy. But then again, we're living in a reverse world, right? And statistics are statistics. And if they go on statistics about how they made all this money off these fucking other cures, that's why they stick with it. When they see that this is a cure that's going to make them some money for 8 months and then the money's gone, they don't want to push it. The company that makes Spravato feels we're the only company doing it. So maybe we're not going to get it for 8 months, but we're going to get everybody. It's another greedy thought, but hell, I'll take that thought. I would rather be told I have 8 months to get through this, a couple times a week, go to the doctor, and get my whole life back. Not only get my whole life back, but wonder how I was ever an addict, wonder how I was ever, in pain, wonder how I was ever depressed, anxiety, PTSD. It's gone. Your brain forgot that it was even there. It sounds fucking bullshit, but it's not. Before we start talking about some of these videos and getting towards the end of this that I'm going to show you, we're even going to talk about pain. When you're in pain, your brain thinks a certain way, right? Pain is just your brain sending signals saying that, ow, ow. If those signals weren't there, you wouldn't be in pain. That's what it does for pain, too. It remaps your brain with those synapses and that connective tissue shit I told you. It unpacks your brain of recognizing pain the same way. So, let's say your back hurts. Oh, it's never going to go away unless I either fix it or take pain pills for the rest of my life. No. What if ketamine, through treatments, could make it so that brain signal was never sent? That pain in your arm never even made it to your brain, or it made it to your brain and got sent somewhere else, never turned into pain. Sounds like some future robotic shit. It's here, it's now, people. It's been going on. You can do this. You have to ask about it. If they say, it's better you stay on fucking Valium, tell your doctor straight up to his face, I don't want to have to give you everything for the rest of my life. I don't want to have to give you my life. I know, doc, that you like having me come once a month to give me my prescriptions and make yourself money and make them money and get kickbacks, but I don't want to do that, doc. You're my doctor. I want to know about ketamine therapy. I want to know about ketamine infusion therapy, and they have to listen. If they don't listen, go to another doctor. People, I've done my homework here. Do your homework. I'm telling you, this could be a miracle. This could be the end of a long road rather than the start of another whole long, disgusting road. The only reason I'm even going to watch some short videos with you is because there's some people who don't know me. There's subs from my channel who know that I'm trying to help people and I look into it. But I want you to hear from doctors. Remember when I said before that it sounded like I'm fucking talking shit and lying? That this makes you forget you're an addict. But if the addictive nature comes back, you just need to learn new addictions. Like, I'm going to fix my car. I'm going to do puzzles. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And it remaps your brain to be addicted to that stuff. It sounds like it's something out of a fucking movie. It's absolutely true.
During the ketamine therapy, you're going to go with the flow, but afterwards, there's new neurons being generated. There's synaptic connections being formed. We call this neuroplasticity. So you want to take advantage of that by creating new habits. And so you're going to use those 4 pillars, making it obvious, making it attractive, making it easy, and making it satisfying.
Remember when I said a couple of minutes ago it works because it makes you forget that you were ever an addict at all? One of the side effects of ketamine is memory loss, which sounds crazy, but it's memory loss that's aimed at certain things. And yeah, you actually forget you were addicted to alcohol. You forget you were addicted to opiates or cocaine. You forget that you were depressed. It changes your whole life. Look at this. I'll give you a second to read what I'm about to put up. I'll even play some beautiful music for you. To the next one. Remember I was talking about how the brain regrows and these synapses and all that stuff, and I sounded like I was making shit up as I went, and you were waiting for me to say, this is YouTube, never believe a word you say. It's told. Sees. The C's a fucking word. This is YouTube, don't believe what you're told. Well, you can believe a fucking doctor, right?
We've learned something profound about what's sometimes called the plasticity of the brain.
That the brain is malleable, is able to change. We can take that up and scale that up to levels where it's actually changes in the brain circuitry, how brain regions are communicating with each other over time and as a result of environmental influences. We think of it in changes in synapses, how these neurons are actually touching each other and communicating with each other.
And we know in depression that the number and the strength of these interconnections decreases. With ketamine, we see a regrowth in the interconnectedness and number of these synapses to connect with each other.
Ketamine is a drug that, at this point, is reserved for people who haven't had an adequate response to at least 2 prior trials of antidepressant medications. We think that one of the things that ketamine does that helps to explain its antidepressant effects is help the brain to regrow the synapses, the connections between nerve cells.
So we think that we're actually targeting a different system in the brain than typical antidepressants are targeting. And that may be why ketamine works so well even for patients who have not had success with a number of different standard antidepressants.
There's evidence that ketamine can have very rapid onset of effects in neuroplasticity. We think that this may open a critical period where now the brain is more plastic, both at the cellular level but possibly even at the functional level, where we can start to work to change people's reference of thinking or their ability to respond and adapt to new social or environmental stimuli.
With ketamine, what we're doing is pinging the brain and triggering.
I have one more little video to show you, and it's because something I said. If you think this is brand new, because that's what a lot of people are going to say. It's so new, how do I know? Even though they're saying it works 90% of the time, and you believe them when they told you opiates weren't addictive, and you believe the Suboxone, people, oh, it's new, how do I know? This has been being used off-label for depression for a long time. Yes, it could be abused. Any drug could be abused, but they're not giving it to you. They're not saying take it home. You're going there and you're doing it. And that's it. You have a little bit of a, out-of-body experience for a minute or two. You feel better and you leave instantly feeling better. For some of you, you're going to laugh at that. For those of you like me who are depressed and have different mental illnesses and PTSD, even pain, they say depression in this, but it's the same, it works the same for everything I've talked about so far. You're going to say there's no way it's going to work on the first treatment. There's nothing that's going to change how I feel the first time. It does. YouTube trials, YouTube people talking about it who've done it. This stuff is amazing. 90% is fucking insane. And I was saying, that's even just in the beginning and the first 2 treatments. If you go down the road a little bit, it goes up even above 90. This stuff is a miracle. Is it ever going to be pushed? Probably not, because it's a miracle to us, but it's an ending to them. If they can only give us medication for 8 more months and not keep us addicted for life, oh, it could hurt them. And oh, we should hurt them.
FDA approved a nasal spray that could treat some forms of depression.
But there are some serious concerns over this new treatment. ABC 7's Michelle Gallardo has that story that is new at 4:30.
Up to 60 million Americans are estimated to live with depression. Of them, 1 in 3 don't respond to available treatments. Enter this nasal spray. In what's considered the biggest breakthrough drug in the battle against depression since Prozac, the Food and Drug Administration this week approved the use of esketamine, with the potential to deliver nearly immediate results.
A lot of the antidepressants that we're used to, such as Zoloft, Prozac, Lexapro, takes 4 to 6 weeks to work. Ketamine works in a week, and that's very exciting.
Marketed under the name Spravato, the spray is a derivative of the popular drug ketamine, popularly known in the 1980s as Special K. It's prone to abuse. It's also been administered intravenously for years to treat depression, but without FDA approval and at a very high price.
There are doctors who have been giving it off-label in clinics and private practices, but the intravenous use requires an anesthesiologist, more monitoring.
Because of its potential, the drug was fast-tracked by the FDA, but like ketamine,
I said that was one more video. I actually got to show you one more. Keeping you watching, though, right? Because that's what I want to do this time. I want anybody who has any of these problems to catch on and at least ask about it. If I can help one fucking person here with any of this, I will be happy. That's my favorite part about YouTube, is knowing maybe somebody can be helped. Maybe this will save somebody's life. And it's not me doing it. Oh, he got a big ego. He thinks saving. No, all I'm doing is pointing you in the direction. Not everybody knows about this. Here's a man who's addicted to opiate for 20 years. You see it on the bottom, the name of the video. Watch the whole video. He tried everything. He tried fucking literally everything. Nothing worked. He got on it because he had to. He had pain. Couldn't even really get off of it because he had pain. That was part of the big problem too, and a lot of problems for people. They want to get off the opiates, but they still have the pain. What do? You want to get clean, but then you're clean and you're in pain. So you want to be an addict who's not hurting, or fucking clean and dying of pain? 20 years he dealt with this. He did ketamine infusion, and it healed him.
When I first came to Dr. Danish, I was at the end of my rope, and I was on the bottom. And he gave me strength, he gave me inspiration, and he told me that he would be there for me to help me through this process. And he was there, and so was the staff members. When I was going through the ketamine infusion, staff members would come in and talk to me and tell me that I'm not alone and that there are people out there. And, my situation is unique. I'm hoping that what I say today can help just one person. If I can help one person, then it was worth speaking today. No matter how far you think you've fallen, you can get up. And God grants us free will to do whatever we want with that will. And if you take that will and turn it around, I was suicidal, and I literally had stuck a gun in my mouth and wanted to kill myself. But under that 22 years of opioids was me, the person. And I didn't pull the trigger because there was a little part of me that still wanted to live. And that little part of me picked my behind up and let people help me who could help me, and to listen to them and do what they said until I could do it for myself. And that's what I will say about Woolworth.
That was the last video. If one person who sees this goes and asks and gets help and it helps them, it was worth doing the video. That's what I'm about. That's what I'm trying to do. Is it me helping? No, I'm just showing somebody something I did my homework on because I'm amazed. Anybody out there who's saying the following, and tons of people are going to say it, if it works so well, it would be everywhere. All the doctors would be talking about it. Not the case at all. They want you addicted for life. Opiates alone is 10 to 20 billion a year. That's how much the pharmaceutical companies make off of it. Just opiates, and Suboxone is an opiate. Think about adding depression medication, anxiety medication, all this other stuff. You're talking about 30 to 50 billion a year easily. Sometimes the estimates are in the trillions when you add other mental illnesses that you can include in this. The ketamine helps. It helps. Studies don't lie. It's almost like I'm surprised they didn't try to twist the narrative, but instead they try to hide it. They don't show it as much. Spravato finally has a commercial. It took them about 5 years to get that commercial out. FDA approval has taken longer than almost any other drug. You have studies that show this shit works 90% of the time, the long and over. But yet the FDA took that long to approve it. They approved the C medication in a week. It's because they don't want to cure anybody. If everybody got on it, oh man, they would make so much money for 8 months and then it's gone. They don't want to hurt themselves. Why are they going to put out a medication that gets rid of their all their clients after 8 months when they can keep you addicted for your whole fucking life? Because doing so would hurt them. And know what I want to do? I want to hurt them. I want to hurt the pharmaceutical industry that destroyed us for so long. It's 8 months. 8 months and you forget it. You're out of pain. You're not depressed, whatever it might be. If you're an alcoholic, if you're on this, if you're on that, try it. Go ask. If you ask your doctor and they say, I don't think it's a good idea, but it's the same doctor prescribing you fucking Xanax, fucking like Skittles, the same doctor that gave you pain pills back in the day and said, oh, they're not addictive. Realize he's part of the problem. He's getting a kickback from all these companies, and he's getting your visit every time that you go there. So tell him, no, listen, sorry, doc, but I don't want you to be my drug dealer anymore. Sorry, doc, but I don't want to give you all my money anymore. I don't want my insurance giving you all that money anymore. Sorry, doc, but you hurt us. Sorry, doc, but I want to know more about ketamine infusion, and if not, I'll find another fucking doctor. Do it. This is your life. Look at the studies. I showed you guys little bits and pieces just to get you on the right path. Try it. It's your life. Get your life back. Addiction is not the answer. The answer for addiction is not addiction. The answer for anxiety is not an addictive medication that can cause seizures. The answer for pain is not a lifelong habit. I know it has been in the past, but it should have never been. And now there's another answer. And it wound up being, woohoo, Special K. Yeah, it's crazy. You put the shit in your nose and you go to the doctor. The whole thing sounds funny, but it's working. Look into it. This is New York. Have a good one.